The mystery surrounding the devil's attempt to claim the body of Moses is a compelling moment in biblical history. Found in Jude 1 verse 9, this account tells of a supernatural conflict where Michael the Archangel resisted Satan's claim, declaring, "The Lord rebuke thee." This singular passage has ignited theological discussions about spiritual authority, divine protection, and the unseen struggles over God's chosen vessels. Why did Satan desire Moses' body? Theories range from attempts to corrupt his legacy to seeking influence over Israel by misusing his remains. Moses was no ordinary prophet. He was the mediator of the Old Covenant, led Israel through deliverance, and encountered God face to face. His death, marked by God himself burying him in an undisclosed location, indicates divine intervention in safeguarding his legacy. This dispute illustrates the broader struggle between God's purposes and Satan's schemes, revealing spiritual warfare's reality beyond human perception. It also raises questions about spiritual inheritance, divine guardianship, and the sanctity of God's chosen leaders. In studying this account, believers can gain deeper insight into spiritual battles and the authority bestowed upon them through Christ. Understanding the significance of this event can equip Christians to discern the enemy's tactics and affirm God's ultimate sovereignty over life, death, and the destiny of his people. His death, marked by God himself burying him in an undisclosed location, indicates divine intervention in safeguarding his legacy. This dispute illustrates the broader struggle between God's purposes and Satan's schemes, revealing spiritual warfare's reality beyond human perception. It also raises questions about spiritual inheritance, divine guardianship, and the sanctity of God's chosen leaders. In studying this account, believers can gain deeper insight into spiritual battles and the authority bestowed upon them through Christ. Understanding the significance of this event can equip Christians to discern the enemy's tactics and affirm God's ultimate sovereignty over life, death, and the destiny of his people. The dispute over Moses' body, mentioned in Jude 1 verse 9, is one of the Bible's most intriguing mysteries. While Scripture does not explicitly state why Satan wanted Moses' body, several theories have emerged. Opposing God's sovereignty, Satan has consistently sought to challenge God's authority. Since God himself buried Moses in an undisclosed location, Deuteronomy 34 verses 5 to 6, Satan's attempt to claim the body may have been an act of defiance against divine will. Preventing future divine plans, some scholars speculate that Moses' body may have had a role in God's future purposes, possibly in connection with his appearance alongside Elijah at the transfiguration of Jesus, Matthew 17 verses 1 to 3. Satan may have sought to interfere with this event. Moses is often seen as a type or foreshadowing of Christ, but some scholars also connect his life to rapture symbolism. Exodus as a picture of deliverance. The Israelites' escape from Egypt under Moses' leadership is sometimes viewed as a type of the rapture, where God's people are removed from oppression before judgment falls. Moses' hidden burial. Unlike other biblical figures, Moses' body was buried by God in an undisclosed location, Deuteronomy 34 verses 5 to 6. Some interpret this as a parallel to the rapture, where believers are taken by God in a way unseen by the world. Departure before entering the Promised Land. Moses led Israel to the edge of the Promised Land, but did not enter. Some see this as a parallel to the church being removed before the full establishment of God's kingdom. The idea of Moses as a type of the rapture carries several theological implications, particularly in how his life and ministry reflect themes of divine deliverance, separation from judgment, and eschatological fulfillment. Moses' burial by God, Deuteronomy 34 verses 5 to 6, suggests a supernatural removal from human interference. This parallels the rapture, where believers are taken by God before tribulation, 1 Thessalonians 4 verses 16 to 17. His hidden burial reinforces the idea that God's chosen ones are preserved for his purposes. Moses led Israel out of Egypt, delivering them from oppression before judgment fell on Pharaoh and his army. This mirrors the pre-tribulation rapture view, where believers are removed before God's wrath is poured out on the world. Moses and Elijah at the Transfiguration. Moses appeared alongside Elijah in Matthew 17 verses 1 to 3, representing the law and the prophets. Elijah was taken up in a whirlwind, 2 Kings 2 verse 11, a clear rapture-type event. Their presence with Jesus in glorified form suggests a future resurrection and transformation of believers. Some scholars suggest Moses' life aligns with prophetic patterns, including the timing of the rapture. His leadership, rejection, and eventual glorification reflect Christ's return and the church's removal before judgment. Moses' undisclosed burial location signifies God's sovereignty over life and death. This aligns with the mystery of the rapture, where believers are taken in an event unseen by the world. Michael the Archangel is depicted in Scripture as a warrior and protector of God's people. His knowledge in the dispute over Moses' body likely came from his divine commission and role in spiritual warfare. Michael is repeatedly shown contending with the forces of darkness. As one entrusted with guarding Israel and executing divine justice, he would have had divine insight into Satan's intentions regarding Moses. Angels operate under direct command from God, Psalm 103 verse 20. Michael didn't have to figure out Satan's motives. He would have known by revelation, acting upon God's directive to protect Moses' legacy. Instead of debating Satan, Michael simply declared, "The Lord rebuke thee." Jude 1 verse 9. This reveals that Michael didn't rely on his own authority, but stood on God's judgment, reaffirming that Moses belonged to God, not the enemy. This confrontation was not merely about Moses' physical body. It symbolized the greater struggle between God's plan and Satan's opposition. Michael, as the appointed defender, knew exactly what was at stake. Michael's unwavering stance reminds believers that victory in spiritual battles comes through God's authority rather than engaging the enemy directly in argument.